of all the second-year quarterbacks, which one do you think will make the biggest steps forward this season? Trey Lance is in this group, of course.
Well, it's interesting. I think this is where the first year everybody kind of looks, they look all right, because they look the first year and the standards are much lower and it's not really about them as much as it is the franchise. And so nobody's judged too harshly, even if they do badly. Nobody's judged too favorably if they do good. So Mac Jones was terrific, but a lot of that was the Patriots, and Trevor Lawrence was horrible. A lot of that was the Jaguars. I would say year 2, you start to see the teams move forward or regress based on the quarterback. And I think there's 3 that are going to make a big step forward. I think Mac Jones is going to continue to get better. I think he's got better surrounding talent around him coming into this year than he had last year. I think he's going to continue to get better. I think Trey Lance is going to get a lot better because of the surrounding cast and how hard he works at it. And then the other guy that I think is going to be phenomenal, and I'm really bullish on this team, largely because of this player in the draft they had, is Zach Wilson. I think Zach Wilson had 2 years last year. He had the first year where he looked really bad, and he looked, it was like him against the world. He had no help. Then he got hurt. He came back. He looked terrific down the stretch. And I think this year, with better perimeter players on both sides of the football, they had Garrett Wilson on the offense, true number one receiver. What's that?
Breece Hall, running back.
Breece Hall running the ball. Roberts. I like their equation. They've improved their talent on offense, and they've got Robert Saleh coordinating their defense, and they added Sauce Gardner. So I think I'm bullish on the Jets this year. I think they're going to be far better, and I think Zach Wilson's going to be the number one reason why.
If Zach Wilson's good, the Jets are good. He's really the only. They're a very young team, but I think that team. Anyway, enough of Zach Wilson's on the list, but let's talk about Trey for a second. For a rookie 21-year-old who started 2 games, his numbers were decent. He had a 97 quarterback rating. Part of that was because he played in the red zone in specific packages. But really, I think the way we'll be able to see the steps that he takes is just how much better the Niners offense could be with him on the field compared to Jimmy Garoppolo. If the Niners offense transforms the way the Rams offense transformed last season, then we'll see it right there. I don't know what the offensive line is going to do if they can keep him healthy and how good the secondary is at strong safety and nickel. But I think you could see Trey Lance make some big, big strides from what he was doing in Arizona last year.
I think it's a lot about Kyle and the offensive coaching staff. What kind of game plan do they surround Trey Lance with? Do they subject him to a bunch of hits, or do they protect him and get the ball out of his hands and try to establish a rhythm? To me, he's got huge talent, but it's all about can you get him in a good rhythm and almost force the ball out of his hands quicker, because they've got tremendous weapons. You could probably argue the 49ers have the best weapons of any of the second-year quarterbacks. Trey will have the best weapons at his disposal. So get the ball out of his hands. Keep him on a pitch count. Run the ball. Play defense. Get the ball out of his hands. Prioritize taking care of the football. And I think Trey's going to make a dramatic several steps forward this year.
I agree. You want him to extend the play sometimes. You want him to roll out of the pocket sometimes, but not every play. Because last year, I think he was among the league leaders in just holding the ball, holding the ball in the pocket. If he's going to do that all the time, he's going to take a bunch of hits, get hurt, and have an Andrew Luck career. Not even an Andrew Luck career, but just have an injured career. Kyle needs to find a million ways to get the ball out of his hands quickly just to keep him healthy. He did that for Jimmy Garoppolo. I think we saw him start to do it a little bit for Kyle in the Houston game. It's important to keep this guy healthy.
And it's like anything else. Show us you're a tough guy, but it's the NFL. You're a quarterback. Do not take on linebackers. Do not run him unprotected through the A gaps. None more of these quarterback drop back, and then he's just kind of has to pick and slide and find a hole between the tackles. Those plays are garbage. I'd rather see him run the exact same offense that Jimmy ran last year, and let's just see how he runs it. And then, try to get a rhythm going and have him on a pitch count. Have him between like 18 and 25 passes. I don't want to see him throwing 32, 35, 37 passes in a game. Keep that exposure to hits way down. Because if you don't have a Tyrod Taylor, keeping Trey fresh is going to be one of the key elements of their run to a Super Bowl this year. You can't have him taking a ton of hits September, October, November. You just can't. You're not going to win that way.
I think one of the best things that Andy Reid and the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes do is protect him. They do a really good job of getting the ball out of his hands, except in that one Super Bowl, getting the ball out of his hands quickly and mixing that in with some deep shots down the field. Mahomes really doesn't get hit very much. That should be how the Niners, hope to use Trey Lance. You don't want him to be like Russell Wilson, who's constantly running around, taking a bunch of sacks, but makes a few big plays. Because that never really worked for the Seahawks, except for that one year when he was making no money.
Prioritize completion percentage, emphasize completion percentage. Don't emphasize toughness, because my biggest fear with Trey is that he's going to try to prove how tough he is.
That's what happened to Carson Wentz, right?
Yeah. Have appropriate fear. Have appropriate fear, because, Tom Brady's the best that probably has ever done it. How many times you see him, the play's not there, he just throws it into the ground. Mahomes will throw the ball into the ground if their play's not there. It's the NFL. You won't make every play. Don't try to make every play. Go on to the next play.
Also, Colin Kaepernick, one of the greatest runners of all time at quarterback, always slid. Never took a big hit. Had the appropriate fear. My favorite player of all time, Steve Young, got hit a lot. Got hit a lot, got a lot of concussions. It really, it cut short his career. So, just saying. I know you want to be like Steve Young, but don't run like that.
Yeah, Steve Young, if he could do it again, probably would do it differently. But Steve Young that was the great part about Steve Young. He played every game with fourth quarter of the Super Bowl type urgency. It defines him.
Yeah, absolutely. And then you got Jimmy Garoppolo, who still thinks it's October.